Since the dawn of time, mankind has turned to seers, oracles, and prophets for glimpses into the future. But none have been able to divine future events more than one man. One man who has been able to stare into the abyss and not blink. A man cursed with omniscient understanding of fate. That man, Homer Simpson.
Spider-Pig does whatever a Spider-Pig does.
Well, maybe Homer isn't a modern-day Nostradamus himself, but The Simpsons as a show has managed to predict future events a staggering number of times. In eerily specific ways. From presidents to Ebola outbreaks to the names of baseball teams to horse meat and food, the writers of The Simpsons have been able to predict the future countless number of times in their 30-year span, with a lot more accuracy than most other shows. We haven't gotten any flying cars that turn into suitcases, but a tiger certainly attacks Siegfried and Roy, so point Simpsons. But how does a bonkers animated show about a dysfunctional family manage to always be right about the future? Well, grab yourself a pink donut and chug a Duff Beer, because we're going to show you why The Simpsons keeps predicting everything. And when we say everything, we mean everything. With enough detail and accuracy, it'll turn your skin yellow. Ever think the US would beat Sweden for Olympic gold in curling? Well, the Simpsons writers did. The historic 2018 Winter Olympics victory was foreshadowed in the episode Boy Meets Curl, 10 years before the upset. In season 6, episode 19, they even called the invention of smartwatches, which, I know, plenty other shows have predicted the idea of a communicator watch of some kind, and seemingly tech giants were just merely copying an age-old scientific trope when they made them. But what about the London skyline? In that same episode, a shot of Big Ben with a digital clock interface also shows an odd pointed building in the skyline. At the time, the show was called out for the odd-shaped building. Until 2012, when The Shard finished construction. A building with the same super odd shape in the same location as predicted by The Simpsons. This one was downright spooky. They've predicted the horrible ending of Game of Thrones down to the scene, Lady Gaga's Super Bowl halftime show, and called for the invention of the tobacco plant like they're freaking Timelords. But the realization that the Simpsons creators are secretly fortune tellers rose to prominence when they foresaw that Donald Trump would be elected president of the United States of America. Sure, plenty of comedy shows, like our Twisted Reality, joked that he'd become president after he announced he was running. But they made the claim 19 years ago. So are the Simpsons writers psychics who can peer straight into the future?
Nike shoes will be made by robots.
Outside of Conan, I don't think so. So if the writers aren't gazing into crystal balls, do they have another means for predicting future events? Maybe something more diabolical? Perhaps they're a cabal, skillfully controlling world events from their shadowy takeout film writer's room. In the season 12 episode Hungry Hungry Homer, Homer starts a hunger strike to stop his beloved team, the Springfield Isotopes, from moving to Albuquerque, New Mexico. No real prediction here, just an episode about a fictional sports team, right? Except about a year later, a minor league team known as the Calgary Cannons were relocated to Albuquerque. Immediately after moving, the team was renamed, dun dun dun, the Albuquerque Isotopes. The team was named after the Albuquerque Tribune ran a contest to rename the team, so yeah, it couldn't have happened if they didn't put it in the show. They say fate is what you make it.
And don't worry about the vase.
What vase?
Would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything?
So did we just prove it? Are the Simpson writers some dark illuminati controlling the world? Or could it be worse? Could it be even darker? Could they be mathematicians? It's no secret the writers of The Simpsons are massive nerds. The show is jam-packed with references to science and math, complete with hidden jokes that only other math nerds would be able to catch. But could the writers be working out groundbreaking discoveries in between creating itchy and scratchy jokes? In the season 10 episode, The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, Homer becomes an inventor, attempting to create things like the Everything is okay alarm, a device that beeps every 3 seconds unless something isn't okay. Whereas that never became a real device, one shot shows Homer writing an equation on a chalkboard. The equation practically worked out the mass of the God particle, also known as the Higgs-Boson particle, a whole 14 years before the Large Hadron Collider was able to discover the particle. According to physicist Simon Singh in his book, The Simpsons and Their Mathematical Secrets, an entire book outlining all the high-level math sprinkled into the show, Simon says if you work it out, you get the mass of a Higgs-Boson particle that's only a bit larger than the nanomass of an actual Higgs-Boson. With such a mastery of the mystical art of mathemagic, maybe the Simpsons are using some kind of advanced game theory to guess within a statistical probability what will happen in the future. Or they could have even programmed a supercomputer that is able to know everything that has or will ever happen. But probably not. But that isn't to say that the secret to the Simpsons' prophetic abilities isn't a numbers game. One of the most accurate predictions the show ever made was from Simpsons writer Al Jean in an interview about how The Simpsons keeps predicting the future. I predict people will make too much out of our great predictions. The way Al sees it, the show's prediction luck can be based off of the law of truly large numbers. So the longest running show of all time, with over 32 seasons, each with about 22 episodes ranging from about 22 minutes per episode. That's if you don't count commercials, short films, features, video games, and countless other content. You are bound to catch lightning every once in a while, right? Put enough monkeys into a room with typewriters and you get Shakespeare. Put some of the greatest comedic minds into a Simpsons writer's room, and apparently you get a snapshot of the future. But that's not to say they are blindly stumbling into these picture-perfect forecasts of world events. The Simpsons is a show known for topical humor that stays relevant to what's going on. The writers are trying to write a show about life that makes fun of things that people can relate to. But unlike a lot of other shows, The Simpsons takes about a year to animate their season, so the show was written a year before it will even air. Because of this, the writers are actively trying to guess what kind of stories would interest someone a year from now. This is clearly a skill they have honed in, completely spooky accurate predictions, which if you take in the number of things they've gotten right, looks like maybe they're onto something. Of course, that's ignoring all the predictions they've made that didn't come true. It's not like we're all investing in monorails or dining through virtual reality goggles. So, it seems the writing staff isn't predicting the future after all. But clearly they enjoy theorizing about what the future will be like. So much so that Matt Groening created Futurama, which is an entire show about how crazy the future could be. But hopefully, it isn't an accurate prediction of life in the world to come. I don't exactly want to be a floating head in a jar, but I would be down for tube technology. That's a fun way to get around. Elon Musk, get on that.